watching Morning at NTV.
Well, morning at NTV, the conversations are still going down, down, down and down. I'm joined by my colleague now, Stephen Mbide, who happens to be with the councillors. Today, they're going to petition the courts of law. There is still a lot of conversation about the councillors. They were freed, but now they still have conversations to go forward. Stephen Mbide, what's the latest in your area?
Yes, good morning to you, Andrew Chamagedo. This is Stephen Mbide on Fefes Wechibuga, of course, coming to you live from Buganda Road, and behind me is the Buganda Road Court, Magistrates Court. And the reason as to why I'm here is just because we know that there are still 3 other KCCA Lord Councillors that are still in detention. But these people were arrested on the 4th of February. Some of them spent 10 days in detention after they were charged before this court, and were able to be released on bond, rather on bail, on Monday, which was Valentine's Day. And I think for those who have loved ones, had a good one in the evening. And one of them is Mosh Sendi. He's the KCCA councillor for Machinde East 3. And he is with, of course, the assistant to the KCCA Speaker, Zahara Luyirika. But let me first of all speak to the Lord Councillor, Mosh Sendi. Good morning to you, first of all.
Good morning, and how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too. And I know you were amongst the 14 councillors that were arrested. First, bring us to speed. What led you into trouble?
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone watching NTV. First of all, I'm a Lord Councillor at KCCA, like you rightly mentioned. And of course, I represent the good people of Machinde East 3. One of my roles as a Lord Councillor is to be part of the council that makes regulations and rules and laws for the whole city. Basically, I sit on a council that's in charge of management of all affairs of the capital city, that is Kampala. So on the 3rd of Feb, we petitioned the Speaker to have a special council because we saw some illegalities going on in the city. They were arresting, torturing, beating, and confiscating goods from very many vendors on the streets of Kampala. Those vendors are Ugandans, for starters. They are Ugandans. They were trying to earn a living. They were not doing it illegally. They were doing it legally. So as council, we happened to call for a special session to go in, to look into matters to do with the vendors. So on that fateful day, we had a resolution. You know, a resolution by KCCA is actually law. We had a resolution to go to 4 different streets of Kampala that were earlier allocated to vendors to check them out and see exactly if we can have all of those evicted vendors try to operate that side as we work on a law or the ordinance that's meant to cater for street trade and street order in Kampala. We even requested the executive director for KCCA. We requested the executive director to give us security so that we go carry on our duties in a legal setup. But the security we were given when we reached along Bank of Uganda, this is Kampala Road, they instead arrested us, beat us up, tortured most of us, dragged us like we were not honorable members voted or elected by the masses. So that's what transpired. We were later taken to CPS Kampala, and when we go to CPS, we had lots of different conflicting reports. They were like, we are supposed to let you go on bond, then we have to keep you. There were lots of phone calls coming in from everywhere. And I personally do suspect it is part of the technical crew or the ministers or the RCC.
You know, as a councillor, you know that the technical wing of KCCA has the mandate of also trying to reorganize the city, as of course working with you, and you give them that they have that mandate. They originally they set up 3 streets: Sebana Road, their side of downtown Kampala. And this to have the evening markets for the vendors. And you have been driving this KCCA smart city.
Exactly.
How can we strike the balance? The vendors or the people you are representing to be able to work, but also to have a better city, a smart city?
First of all, the so-called smart city is an illegality. You cannot come up with anything in Kampala without consulting the council, without the approval of council. So smart city is something that is non-existent. It is something that is being used by a few individuals to try and con people of Kampala and then torture people of Kampala. Let me ask you one thing. What is a smart city with no lights on the streets? What is a smart city with no ambulances? What is a smart city with no hospitals to talk about? What is a smart city with public schools that are rotting away? What is a smart city with all the traffic in this world? What is a smart city with no train?
The state is accusing you of staging an illegal procession to incite the population to play your politics as members of the opposition.
The state is just scared. I don't know why they are scared of their own citizens. I do not know. Let me quote for you. This is the KCCA Act. It was passed by Parliament. So let me quote functions of the council where we sit. One of the major functions is to determine taxation levels within Kampala. The other is to enact subsidiary legislation for the proper management of the capital city, meaning we are the Parliament of Kampala City. So any law, anything that is going to govern the capital city, with the council is in charge, not anybody else. To review and approve budget proposals made by the executive director, there's also this one. It's very, very important to mobilize the residents of the capital city to undertake income-generating activities and self-help community projects. Now, what does that mean? To mobilize residents of the capital city.
So it work in markets?
Exactly. We had gone to the streets to try and find a lasting solution because we've seen this all the time.
Sorry, markets, not the streets.
No. There are laws, by the way, there are existing laws that do not criminalize street trade. Currently, we don't have any law in the KCCA Act, but according to the law, if you don't have anything stated equivocally in the KCCA Act, you can borrow from the Local Government Act. The Local Government Act states it that in Kampala we shall have organized street trade, and the fee they are supposed to pay as license is 150 shillings.
Lord Councillor Moshi Sendi, away from that, I want to understand from you. You have been in detention for 10 days, at least 10 days. What was the experience for you going into detention after protesting, as you say, for the people of Kampala?
No, after trying to do our work for the people of Kampala and being arrested by the illegal occupiers. Now, we spent over 12 days in illegal detention because we were not meant to be in prison. In fact, the people that sent us to prison are the ones that are supposed to be in prison because we're working for the majority of Kampala. We don't work for the minority, we work for the majority. Now, I do believe Chitalia was made to torture Ugandans, belittle them, and make them hate their own country. Because what we saw in Chitalia, I've never ever been embarrassed, dehumanized. I've never ever been taken through such.
What exactly happened?
Like for example, when we got there, they didn't even put it into consideration that they were arresting leaders or they were putting leaders into prison. First of all, we were stripped naked, completely naked.
Are you serious?
Yes, completely naked and told to frog jump around and all that. Now, what kind of country is this? It is the 21st century. Instead of doing that to maybe murderers and thieves and people that are stealing billions of taxpayers' money, they did that to people that are trying to save the country from all that corruption going on. So after being taken through all that, we were humiliated, put into an overly crowded ward. There was an outbreak of TB, there was an outbreak of lots of different illnesses. When we went to the dispensary, there was nothing like a single drug. There were no drugs at all. Basically, we were like prisoners of war. We were like prisoners of war, yet we were honorable members elected by people. And what I saw, we saw lots, like thousands of Ugandan youth that are supposed to be working for their country. They are illegally in prison. They eat one meal in 24 hours. If that's not okay, we ask. I talked to like hundreds of them, and they were like, I've been here for 2 years, 3 years. I was caught with, I was putting on a red beret for people power. I was taken in. Now they are demanding for a gun, bullets, and all that stuff. Like, how do we live in such a nation? One of the youngest nations on earth, and you torture your own citizens and put them into dehumanizing situations. That's very bad.
Okay. Let me also get back to you. Let me also speak to the assistant to the speaker of KCCA, that's Zahra Luyirika. First of all, I see you with some wounds on your mouth. Your name, and tell me, how did you get these wounds?
My name is Semakula Aksam. I'm the personal assistant to the authority speaker. One of my great roles in the office of the speaker is to ensure that I do the alignment of business for the speaker to execute in the council. And actually, on that day that Honorable Moshi has detailed properly, we are proceeding well just to inspect the roads to habit proper management of street vendors. So we arrested, put in 2 cells, first of all at CPS, and then later taken to Chitalia, where we found a very filthy environment.
Okay, yes, explain that experience, yes. But I just want to understand, how did you get these wounds on your mouth?
These are the result of bacterial manifestation due to bad use of beddings, the mattresses we are sleeping on. The contagious diseases were very, very rampant.
So these were these are not wounds as a result of torture, right?
These are not a result of torture, but down here, my ankle was tortured. I was beaten badly, and I got a scars. You see, my leg is swollen. So these are a result of bacterial infection that I got from the.
So are you having something like internal pain?
Of course, I do have excessive chest pain. Lately, I've been vomiting blood with traces of. I've been vomiting with traces of blood, and there is a lot of pain because they beat us so badly when we are being arrested, and we've been sleeping so badly. A ward of capacity, a ward which was designed to habit like 30 people, we end up sleeping like 240 or 300.
So did you get treatment for during the time you spent in detention?
When I told the person in charge of the ward that I was so sick, I needed some medical attention, they took me to the clinic, only measured my weight and my height. They told me, once you are still above 50 kgs, you do not qualify to have an emergency medication. They told me that you can still go back, you're okay, provided you are not below 30 kgs. Yes.
And that is an experience I know you share with so many other councillors, or other people that you were detained with. This is a conversation that I have to end now, but before that, I know the 3 other councillors that are still in detention are supposed to be at least the hearing for bail application is supposed to be heard and decided from the magistrate here. But before that, that is a campaign that is also Mosh is part of. Lastly, as you enter the court, what are you exactly going to do to make sure that, yes, these other 3 get bail? Because last time they were not able to get it on Monday.
You know, last time court gave us lots of technicalities that didn't even make any sense, and I cried for the justice system of Uganda. So we are here to specifically make sure that our remaining 3 Lord Councillors are out. That is Musin Kakande from Kawempe, and then we have Sembatia Richard from Machinde, and then we have Mpindi Charles from Nakawa. We'll make sure that we get them out of that hellhole, because it is not a very good place for somebody to be, especially when you've not committed any crime. So we are here armed with all documents that are meant to have them free, and of course they need to get back to work. And
very lastly, the last is the one for border borders. Border borders are now saying that our KCCA is now coming for them. Are we going to see the same that we saw for the vendors?
If you're going to arrest us every time we try to work for Ugandans, we are ready to go back to Chitalia fighting for the rights of border riders, because all this is happening because of the poor economic policies that have happened over the 36 years of bad governance. So borders are a very big part of our economy, a very big part of our country. And of course, as we speak, borders are some of the quickest ambulances in Uganda. We all witnessed recently when it was a border that took the General Katumba Wamala when he was shot. So borders are very important to the economy and the nation.
Thank you so much, Mosh Sendi, the Lord Councillor, Machinde East 3, and this is the reason as to why I came here, because they are entering court to see whether they will be able to at least get bail for the other 3 other councillors. Stephen Imbido, Fefes Wechuga, now handing you back to the safe hands of Andrew Chamage.